Let's go. Let's go. Let's fire it up. What's going on, everyone? Know what you hold, episode 3. You got Echo, your boy Echo in the house, and I'm joined here by the one and only Mims, all right, with the 2024 reset hat. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Yes, sir. What's going on, brother? Always got to start these live streams off with a sound money clap.
Ooh.
It's not every day people get to hear that beautiful sound of real money clanging together. And that's what, the time that we're in, this economic monetary revolution. So I'm fired up and honored to be on the show, brother. I'm doing good. How about you?
I can't complain. I can't complain. So for everybody in the chat or anybody that's just joining in, thank you all very much for being here for episode 3 for Know What You Hold. Okay. Mims, can you first and foremost, what does Mims stand for?
Yeah. So Mims is the acronym Make It Make Sense. And it's something that kind of was given to me because I've been helping a lot of people. I mean, thousands, tens of thousands of people understand, the present banking and monetary system with the Federal Reserve and how they're not federal and they don't have any reserves, and, how gold and silver is, the underpinning of wealth and that everybody should have it. And, as well as, blockchain and things of that nature. So it kind of something that just grew. And so it became MIMS. We have these names that people will attribute to you based on the value you bring to their life. And so MIMS, I liked it. It made sense. Make it make sense. People say that all the time. And, we've been running with it since. So it works.
I love it. I love it, bro. I love it. Well, to me, outside of here, you're known as Ricks, but, for the podcast, we're just going to go with MIMS for today. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go. Well, MIMS, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. And before I even get into that, let me say, man, Echo, shout out to you, brother, because I've been watching you grow and can already see you doing something legendary. Okay. And you're just getting started. So literally, I'm honored. I consider myself, I've made it, now that I'm on the Know What You Hold, podcast. Right. But people understand something. You're just getting started. And I'm excited to be on this journey with you and the whole community. And I got started essentially after 2008 financial crisis. I had some loved ones who were, adversely affected by forces outside of their control, and they were doing things, the right way. Working their job, paying their mortgage, paying their taxes, and then you have, the average person, the middle class person being wiped out because of market crashes that are, embedded in the system that people didn't understand, being wiped out because of inflations and corruption in the financial system. And as I started to study, why that was. And I of course, I came to, figuring out, who the Federal Reserve was, how they became in place, and then following that, the history of money. Right. And realizing that it's gold and silver that is real money, and actually understanding the Wizard of Oz type of system, the Matrix, this zeitgeist that we've been placed in, where we think debt is money. And so from that point on, I made it my purpose and my passion to help people accumulate real assets, physical silver and gold, God's money, precious metals. And I love to find systems where people can create additional streams of income in the process, because I'm a strong believer that if you're relying on one stream of income, you're a disaster waiting to happen. So you have to find ways, to make money in your sleep, and you have to have a way to preserve that wealth while have it grow for you without exposing yourself to too much risk. And that's been my story. And I've had a lot of success, and mainly on Facebook and YouTube is my largest community. I'm just coming to the X community. I started maybe a year ago on TikTok and gathered a great following there from helping people, understand what's going on. And but mainly it's really been a great ride and journey, just helping people get assets, physical silver and gold, and find companies that give them the best value in the process.
Absolutely. And for everyone joining in, thank you all very much for joining in. You can actually find MIMS over on TikTok. That's actually where we became friends at. That's where we started at. Right.
Yeah.
And I moved over to X a few months back, and now MIMS is over on X too as well. So make sure that you're giving him a follow over on TikTok, and make sure you're giving him a follow here over on X too as well. Here, I'm going to share the X. But yeah, deciding that The information, what's exciting about the whole entire conversation that we've been having about silver and, the changes in the monetary system that's happening right now, right? Um, we're just at the cups in the very beginning of it. And it's, whenever you think about everything that you're doing to help empower everyone to create their own wealth, right? There's multiple ways to actually make it in this world, in my opinion. And it's not just making it, but also just staying ahead of the game. And just as well as many other individuals as well, right? But particularly how to actually stay ahead of the game, right? Especially
Yeah.
when it comes to the monetary system, because what you said that you studied about it, right? You understood what gold and silver was. Take me through that journey, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so, it started with well, the first thing was, coming out of high school, in school, they only taught me about earned income. They never taught me about passive or residual income. They never really taught me about being able to, have my money work for me harder than I had to work for it. But when I got out of high school, and like I said, I went on this journey of discovery. And I started reading certain books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, or Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, or The Creature from Jekyll Island, and other books that just really break down, what's going on in this system, and why so many people, the 99%, are not benefiting from the system, while the 1% continues to get wealthy. And in that process, I use the law of attraction to attract the right people and the right opportunities my way, where I can actually accumulate these assets and bring value to people's lives and help them accumulate those assets and create, a business out of it. And, so I found a couple of companies, early on, and we've helped people get gold, physical gold, in small increments. And then from that point, I found another opportunity dealing with physical silver, and we were helping people get physical silver coins delivered to their home on a consistent basis. And then we moved into diversifying people's precious metal portfolios into numismatics and collectibles. And now we're at the point where we're just helping people get, bullion at cost, because that's what it really comes down to. If anybody ever, went to Google and they figured out the top 5 assets that the wealthy hold to preserve their wealth, it just really comes down to exclusive real estate. It comes down to, gold, precious metals, fine artwork, and land. And, I get excited because I'll never wake up, in the middle of the night and get a phone call from somebody and they said, "Hey, you told me to get all this gold and silver and it's worthless." Gold and silver will always have value. It's had value since the times of Egypt. It's there's nothing new under the sun that has happened on this planet where gold and silver won't have value. It's
Yeah.
money in Africa, Asia, Europe, the Americas. It's constitutional money, Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. There's about 12 states in the United States where gold and silver is legal tender. So, this is the asset. This is real money that mentioned in the Bible, from Genesis to Revelations. This is the asset that everybody needs to hold in regards to savings, because a lot of people look at gold as an investment or silver as an investment, and it's not. It's how you save and preserve your wealth. Investments speculate and stipulate that risk. You can lose 100% of your investment, right? Because there's risk associated with investments. But according to the Bank of International Settlements, right, a tier 1 asset has zero risk associated to it and is accepted 100% for value. And that's gold and silver, And so I get excited when I tell people, that's why you say, Echo, know what you hold, know what you hold.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Know what you hold. And everything that
Yeah.
you were just saying, right? When you talk about gold, silver, it being God's money, there's only a finite supply of this. How I see everything, it's like a game. It's like a simulation video game that we're in, right? And if you think about like all the video games that you'll have to go and mine resources, that's the same thing that gold, silver, copper, precious metals are, right? So to me, you're just playing a high level, video game. If you think about what gold and silver really is and what it's meant to do, we always talk about the monetary system, right? The fiat currency, how it's manipulated, how the powers that bees are manipulating it, right? And manipulating the system to its benefit. Okay. But this is where the evolving technology that we're about to go into, right?
Yeah.
Real world assets, like all the assets that you just listed down, all of that's coming over to the blockchain,
Yep.
So like you mentioned, holding on to assets, right, such as gold, silver, property, anything
Yeah.
for that matter, is going to be revolutionary.
Yeah. And you're right, because what's happening is that we're in an economic revolution right now, and that economic revolution is obviously digital, and everything is going to be moved to the blockchain. I think at this point, people who know everything
Hmm.
is on the blockchain, and so when we're talking about these assets that are preserving wealth, they're going to be recorded. They're going to be on the blockchain. And so the land, the fine artwork, what I'm saying, obviously people know what NFTs and things of this nature. And we're talking about, obviously the tokenization of assets. It's, the thing about it is some people think they have an option to get cryptocurrency or blockchain, really, because, that's a whole nother conversation where it gets people confused, because you talk about crypto, but people don't understand that crypto is a layer of the blockchain. It's really the blockchain that you need to understand. you
Hmm.
know but everything is going to move onto the blockchain, and these assets are going to be on the blockchain, and it's part of the economic revolution. You can't escape it. It's just like when the economy went from cash and checks, and then we bought in plastic credit
Hmm.
cards. And people at first, they didn't want to deal with credit cards. They didn't want to deal with plastic and digits. They were used to cash and checks. People don't like change. They like to stick with what they know. But obviously today everybody has plastic in their wallet. So we're gonna come up on a point here very soon where everybody's gonna have to interact with the blockchain in some fashion or some way. So it's better that you figure out on your own ahead of time, so how you can be more decentralized, as opposed to you recontracting yourself into a new slavery system 2.0 on a centralized system. Because either way, blockchain is here, it's not going anywhere, and you're going to have to get involved in it and using it, and assets are tokenized on it.
Yeah. And one of the
Yeah.
biggest things is like to stay ahead of it, right? Is to learn about the blockchain, but also if you just, I know that blockchain, it can be, sometimes some people, it can be controversial because they don't fully understand it, right? I
Yeah.
always encourage everyone to actually, you know, do a little bit of small research and just get the core layer of it and start peeling it back like an onion or a banana. So you get the core of it
Right.
once you start figuring it all out, right? But for the most part, everything is coming over to the blockchain, but holding on to real world assets such as your gold, your silver, right? Your property, all of that
Yep.
is going to come over and go over to blockchain because it's going to be able to fractionalize it. You're going to be able to use, decentralized, banking on it because as much as, people, the ideal of banking is actually good, right? The problem is if it's been put in the wrong hands, that's where it becomes where they can abuse it. Banking is
Yeah.
actually really good because you have to grow the economy, right?
Yeah.
Fractionalized banking is actually really good because it gives the ability to grow the GDP. The problem is that you abuse it, and that's where we're at right now. We're at a point, a very unique time in history where they manipulate the system so long, controlling the system, the ledger, the power of the bees that have done it, right? The only way that we can get out of it is by using technology, AI, and things that are so much more complex that we humans can't do, but we need the help of this technology and blockchain to not
Yeah.
only get us out of the system, but protect us into the future.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. Henry Ford, and I'm gonna paraphrase it, but he said that if the American people ever understood the present banking and monetary system, there will be a revolution by tomorrow morning. And it's
Hmm.
so that statement is more true than ever, especially today. And we're seeing the rigging and manipulation, whether you look at, how they're halting trading, whether you're looking at, obviously they're looking out for private wealth versus retail. And, the thing is that you don't really have to understand it all. People don't understand how a car works, a combustion engine works. Most people don't understand how the stock market works. They just know if they turn the key, their car gonna start. They just know that if they go
Absolutely.
to Klaus Schwab or Fidelity, that these people know what they're doing and they're going to move the money somewhere, but they don't understand the underpinnings of what actually makes it work. You just need to understand that this trend isn't going anywhere, that this technology is actually here for our benefit. It's here for us. It's here to make life better, more secure for us, to get rid of the fraud and the manipulation, to have more transparency, to have more security. This is a trustless system. And that's a beautiful thing, because we can see throughout time, we can't
Hmm.
trust other people right? When it comes to the financial system, just, the natural flaw of human nature or whatever it is. But we can see that, there's corruption inherent in this system, and
Mhm.
and the people who are in control now, they won't stop at trying to continue to enslave humanity in some form or another. And this is what we've been fighting against here in this country for a very long time. Founding fathers of this country fought against the central bank. That was the worst thing that could ever happen to this country. The founding fathers said was a central bank. The Federal Reserve is public enemy number one. Most people don't understand that. It's not Russia. It's not China. It's not Iran. It's not all these boogeymen that they put in front of you. Public enemy number one is the Federal Reserve. Through inflation and deflation, they create market crashes, they devalue your currency, and they're getting rid of the middle class in the process, through inflation and taxation. And then it's people's lack of understanding of that is why we continue to fail for our lack of knowledge, why we continue to perish for our lack of knowledge on the financial system. But a new day is coming where people are going to have to wake up. You're going to have to tap into this consciousness and elevate to this frequency of understanding, or you're going to get wiped out. It just is what it is, unfortunately, at this point in time.
Dang, bro, I don't even know how to top that one. Dang, you just freaking mic dropped it right there. Hey, I want to give a shout out to all 644 people that we have right now. Okay, much love. Thank y'all very much for showing up for the third podcast. You hear Mims, he is going on fire right now. He's not holding back, right? And everybody that's been watching my page and watching the information I've been sharing know that we've been talking really heavily about the Federal Reserve, about the financial system, right? The history of the monetary system, okay? How far back it goes, okay? Because at the moment in time, and again, we're at this really unique time and point of history where, like you mentioned, everything's going to change for the better. It's going to change for the good. As long as you can focus on the information at hand and understand, okay, this is where our Constitution lies at, right? Article 1, Section 10, like you mentioned earlier, about gold and silver, right? Yeah. Why we have our Bill of Rights, why, companies like Ripple are made in America. This is where, if you think outside and tap into that consciousness, you can make it onto the other side, because the wealth transfer is definitely going to happen. You can't stop what's coming, right?
Yeah.
Manipulation only lasts for so long, and their time has come where, it's in the Bible, right? Where Jesus went into the church, right? Or not the church, but he overthrew the money changers.
Temple. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Overturned. I mean, so, and you're right, Echo. This is why I tell people we're living in the most significant time period in history. The time period that we're living in right now will be talked about for centuries, for millennium. That's how pivotal, this moment is in history. And you're alive in this moment. And that's why I tell people that if you didn't come from a wealthy family, this is the opportunity to make sure that a wealthy family comes from you. Your picture will be held over the fireplace, over the mantle for generations to come, 7 generations down, if you do the right thing during this reset. That's how big this opportunity is, and that's why it's so important that people dream bigger and don't make your minimums your maximums. Even just a little bit and slowly accumulating the XRP, slowly accumulate some silver. It is going to do magnificent things for you, especially in the face of inflation and hyperinflation, because we're seeing now central banks, of course, having to cut rates at a time where the global economy no longer wants to rely on their currency, doesn't want to use their system. And all that's going to create is like Venezuela. The currency is worthless in Venezuela. They're throwing the money out in the streets, at a time. When in Weimar, Germany, when their currency collapsed, they were using the fiat currency as wallpaper. The US dollars days are numbered as the world reserve currency. As far as we're concerned, it might be tomorrow, because OPEC or Saudi Arabia is no longer forced to take dollars for oil anymore. So, but prior to the United States having a world reserve currency, it was the British pound sterling, because backed by silver. But prior to them, it was the Dutch, and then the Romans and the Greeks, and then of course, back in Africa, so it's like it's always been tied to gold and silver. It's just been this time period that the last 100 years or so where we're like in this twilight zone where God's money all of a sudden wasn't money, and people bought into this paper money concept. but it was a slick way they did it. The dollar was as good as gold, because the dollar was a certificate for gold, but the dollar wasn't the money. It was what you could exchange the dollar for that was the money, which was the gold and silver. And so it's always been this war. This is really what it comes down to. When you look at, what's going on around the world, it's always about money and power. And when you look at the debt and the national debt of other countries and the GDP of some countries, and then when you look at, the movement of gold and silver and things, you start to paint a picture and realize what's going on, because we had to get off the gold standard in 71 because France started demanding the gold because they realized that the U.S. was printing too much paper, went into too many wars, And so when you start to understand the history, and now you see where we are today, now you understand, just how critical this time period is, but also just how much of an opportunity that this time period is, because of the massive rigging and manipulation of gold and silver. They're still suppressed today. The prices are still suppressed. They're still undervalued, folks. These assets are going much higher, in my opinion.
Yeah, speaking of that, when assets go much higher, I don't know if you really chart too much, but I do chart.
Yeah.
When it comes to like precious metals like silver, right?
Yeah.
And I've been following the chart on it for a while, and right now we're in this trend, right? And normally, if we're in this trend, eventually it's going to pop out. So for me, I feel like that, we bottomed out at least right here so far, okay? And then we could. If we do, we'll retest, right? Because not only are we on this Fibonacci retracement level right here, which is a really good support line, right? But we're in this trend. And normally when we hit the bottom 3 times, we normally pop upward. So we might see us go over and on top and go upward to that $35 that we were supposed to go to. Because I know a lot of us anticipated us going straight to 35. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like we were going to. But then we started figuring out about the paper contract, right? About not just, we already knew about the paper contract, but now we know the rotation. We started figuring out about when they're fulfilling more of their contracts, right? And right now we have around 400 paper contracts over in the market to 1 ounce of silver. And of course, as time goes on, that'll increase, but eventually it'll be exposed, right? But as you can see, whenever we looked at the charts, whenever I was measuring the chart of silver, we bounced out of that $25 range, $30 range right there, right? And now we're just, we're literally going into a area. I wouldn't say price discovery, because price discovery is over at the $50 mark, but I have us going at least close to the $50 mark, around 45, right? So, and this is short term. I'm saying that this is going to happen very shortly, right? As far as where it goes after we hit $50, because $50 is all time high. If we remember, like silver, we remember that silver hit $50. Once we break out of that $50 range, it's game over, bro. We don't know we will then realize what the true price of silver will be at that point. Everybody already knows that. Like, we go in, me and Mim, we know this, right? In crypto, it's called price discovery mode. In price discovery mode, we don't know where it's going to go. It's just literally going to determine its real value, right? Let the free market decide. Right. And so, Mim, what do you think about the price of silver?
Well, let me say this. Physical silver is the most undervalued physical asset on the planet. The most undervalued physical asset on the planet. Here we have silver sitting at around $30 an ounce. Its all-time high was around 50. But we've had literally, they're printing $1 trillion added to the debt every 100 days. I want you to really think about this. We're adding $1 trillion to the U.S. debt every 100 days. It's so bad that the interest payment alone is almost $1 trillion. And then when you tie in the last 4 years since, the scare, I don't know if we could use certain words, but what happened in 2020, right? Scamdemic.
We're open, bro. We can use whatever we want.
Right. We're on X. I forgot. That's right.
Dude, we ain't on TikTok. We ain't got no filter. We ain't got no filter like freaking TikTok, homie.
Yeah, right. That's TikTok. Well, I mean, since then, right? Since COVID, since the scamdemic, right? They've printed more money than they've ever printed since the inception of this country. I mean, literally, they shut down the whole economy, printed trillions of dollars, and we're seeing inflation everywhere. And you're telling me a metal as vital to the economy as silver is still about 50% off from its all-time high. And we've printed trillions of dollars. So that's massive rigging and manipulation taking place. And so we have the upside for silver is ridiculous. I mean, it's quite frankly mind-blowing. Just how much, fiat paper money is. And like you talked about, the leverage, the derivatives market, and people talk about the collapse of the derivatives market and everything else. And this is what we're seeing. When you have a system no longer being based off of debt and credit and derivatives, and it's going to assets and real value and real money, it's like a vortex. And you're going to see this wealth, right? These dollars, digits, they're going to chase these finite resources, the real resources, the commodities. And these are going to explode in value because that is the real value. The world believes the dollar is value. So people are out chasing dollars. People are working 40 hours a week for 40 years of their life for pieces of paper, pieces of cotton, believing that that's real money, that's value. Well, the world's getting ready to wake up here. And so we're going to see silver. Now, I don't know if we're going to have a flash crash where everything goes to zero first, and then we see things get reevaluated, because I remember we saw oil go to -50. That was a crazy day on the markets. We saw oil go to -50 a barrel. I mean, we saw just the other day, what was that? Berkshire Hathaway down 99%. I mean,
I was like, what's going on? Need to try to buy. Come on, let's go.
Got to be a millionaire real quick and buy that thing cheap. But I mean, so we don't know what's going to go in these markets. It could be, when I think of a reset, if I reset my computer, that's shutting it down and everything rebooting. And then you reboot to the updated value of what things are supposed to be, or more, correct to fair value, because we don't have a free market. We don't have, obviously, we know that. This is a rigged, managed, and manipulated market. There is no real price discovery for assets right now. So nobody really knows the exact value or price, I should say, that silver should get to, or gold, because there's so much fraud and manipulation and rigging in the markets. And you have to understand that physical silver there are thousands of uses for physical silver: healthcare, medicine, clothing, solar panels, satellites, electronics. You name it. There's thousands of uses for physical silver outside of it being money and a wealth, preservation of wealth. Now it's returning to its role as money, and the Industrial Revolution, this technological revolution now that we're moving into with solar panels and everything else, and having a greater demand for silver, AI and everything else. Silver is the most electric conductive metal. Silver is so undervalued. This is why I tell people, accumulate silver more than gold. Even when I look at, silverprice.org, if anybody ever goes to silverprice.org, it will show you the from like 6 months to 20 years, the price percentage gains of gold, and it will show you the price percentage gains of silver. Well, the price percentage gains of silver is almost equal to gold right now, but gold is at near its all-time highs, and silver is at $30. It's not even near its all-time highs. Yeah, so this is why I say, silver and gold are not investments. Yeah, there you go. It's right there. So silver performance over the last 30 days to 20 years, you can see the performance of silver. And I like this because I think about saving. I'm not talking about investing. We know what crypto does. We know this is nothing in the crypto space. We can get this in a day. We can get this in a few minutes. But when you're talking about saving your money, right, taking it outside of the system, preserving it in real wealth, those gains are significant. And then the same thing with gold. If you scroll back up, if you scroll up a little bit up, you'll see right there on the right, you see gold performance for the last 20 years. And you'll see on the right side, a little more to the right. Yeah. Now scroll down a little bit. Just a tad. Right there. Yep. So you see the 20-year for gold was like 500%. You see the 20-year for silver is 431%. But remember, gold is near its all-time high. Silver has not broke out yet. We have not seen silver do anything yet. So the percentage gains, the value in silver is going to be way more than gold.
You're going to
You
get a
know,
lot more bang for your buck with
a lot
silver.
more bang for your buck, right? And that's why we say it's savings, because obviously your checking account, your savings account at the bank, they're not giving you any interest on the savings. You're losing value because of inflation. The bank is loaning out 100% of your money. Okay, they're not keeping that money. They loan it out, right? There's no advantages to saving your dollars at all in the bank. You don't save dollars because dollars are not for saving; they're for spending. But you save your money in physical silver, and gold. These are savings vehicles, not investment vehicles. Your investments, blockchain and crypto all day, but
Absolutely,
gold,
absolutely.
you save your money. Yeah.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we get into the nitty gritty right now? Since we're streaming on X, right? There's no filter right here. Okay,
Yeah.
let's get into
Yeah.
the nitty gritty. Okay, there was just recently another bill, right? But this one from a senator, okay, from Utah, Mike Lee, where he introduced a bill yesterday ending the Federal Reserves. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yep, I heard about that. And when I heard that, I want to say, shout out to Dr. Ron Paul, because he been talking about in the Fed for a very long time, and a few others. I know George Gammon rocks the in the Fed hat, and like I said, the Federal Reserve is public enemy number one, and they're the worst thing that could have ever happened to this country, and so yes, we need to end the Fed. The Fed should have been ended a long time ago. Their charter should have not been renewed. They're the most corrupt institution on the planet. People have to understand that the Federal Reserve, like I said, is a private institution. They're unauditable. Nobody's audited the Fed. And they're doing currency swaps with other central banks. They're doing all kind of fraud and manipulation. They want to be the lenders and buyers of last resort. This is how they're confiscating the wealth. This is what you think about the Federal Reserve. They get in the market and they buy assets. What are they buying assets with? Where do they get the value from? They're creating value from nothing. So they have these assets on the books that they created value from nothing to buy. And it's a rigged, horrible, corrupt system that does not work in favor of the people at all. And we need to, we need to uproot it. We need to end it. We need to get rid of it. We should have got rid of it a long time ago.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to give a shout out to all 1,000 people that's in the building. What's up? Let's go. How y'all doing? All right, and shout out to Miss right there. Okay, she just I posted her chat right underneath that you can see almost to 1,000 reposts. Thank you very much for all the love and for being here. Okay, M.I.M.S is dropping some knowledge, dropping some bombs. We just got done talking about silver, talked about gold. Now we're talking about the Federal Reserve. We're talking about how we should end the Federal Reserve, right?
Yeah.
From my research about the Federal Reserve, it made me go down a rabbit hole, right? And I'm so deep into it now that I'm connected bloodline now. Like I'm connecting bloodlines. That's how deep I am with this whole entire rabbit hole I've been in. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm already for sure I know what's going on, between between everybody saying that we're going through biblical time, right? That, we are going through magical time, but it's going to be great at the end. You just have to be on that higher frequency, that higher consciousness, right? And when you figure out like who really controls the monetary system, the Federal Reserve, right? Not just the Federal Reserve, but who controls the Federal Reserve, then you're like, oh, that's why we need to get rid of them,
Yeah.
Everybody can take, everybody talking about and complaining about taxes, about about having to pay taxes, about working so much, feeling like we're slaves. Well, in real reality, we are. We're shackled to Federal Reserves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which taxes are voluntary, and people are coming up. People that information is coming out more and more. And then when you look at in 1913, we have to understand something that the Revolutionary War was not fought over tea and taxes. That is a lie that we've been told. They show you these images of them throwing the tea over in the water in the harbor and whatnot, and saying that was the cause of the war, and it's not. And actually, the cause of the Revolutionary War was that the colonies were not allowed to issue their own debt-free, interest-free notes. And see, that has been the battle the whole time, that they knew that they could enslave the wealth, because America is the wealthiest, most innovative nation. and they knew that, right? And they knew that what was going to happen, and so they found a way to enslave this country through debt. And the colonies realized that, and that's why when we look at the greenbacks, or when we look at what Kennedy was doing with the silver certificates, taking away the power from the Fed, it was the Revolutionary War was fought because the colonies could not issue their own debt-free, interest-free note. Even now, the Treasury can issue our debt-free, interest-free notes, but we continue to get debt-based, interest-bearing notes from the Federal Reserve. Why? Because our politicians, have sold out. Because it's a corrupt system. But we even when you look at the creation, the Federal Reserve is not the first central bank that was in this country. This has been a constant war, between the central banks, trying to set up a central bank for this country versus, just having, regular charter banks. Banks fail. It's part of the, ebbs and flow of markets and economies. But, after the Federal Reserve was passed, then you had the income tax. But prior to that, it was a Titanic. And then you realize who was on the Titanic. Some of the, opposition to the Federal Reserve was on the Titanic. And when you realize that story of how that went down, and now all of a sudden we have a Federal Reserve, we have income taxes. And then what happened after that? We had the Great Depression. And then after that, we had them, the Gold Act. They want to start taking the gold. And then fast forward, now we're in this constant war environment, where war all the time. And
because
then
war creates money.
Yes, because and what do? They fund both sides of the war.
Yep.
We were funding Hitler. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were funding, these banks and these corporations that grew up around them, these den of vipers, they're funding both sides of the war. That's why they say all wars are bankers' wars. And that's what we have. It allows them to create their product. Their product is debt. That's what the dollar is. And they've created a mechanism where we have to print more debt, or otherwise the economy collapses, where you have a liquidity crunch, a credit crisis. If they ever stop creating debt, the economy crashes, because this is a debt-based system. And people have to understand that we will never fix the budget. There will always be a debt mechanism as long as the Federal Reserve is in control of the issuance and of the money. And the rates of the money, because that's all they can control. They can only control the interest rates and the flow of the money, supply of the money. But we have to take that back. There's no reason for us today in 2024 to have a Federal Reserve, a central bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, this is a really good example of the Federal Reserve note and what we need to go into and what we are going to go into, right? We're going to be going into the USA Treasury certificate note. This is not going to be a debt-based system that we're going into. We're going into a debt-free system, a debt-free currency. Okay. In my opinion, I don't believe that the debt is actually going to be gone. It's just going to be gone from the regular person's eyes, right? It's still going to be in the background, right? It's still going to be there. It's just from us, our perspective, we're not going to be in that system no more. That system is just, hey, it's going to be taken care of, because we're switching it up from a debt-based system over to a credit-based system. Going to a credit-based system, we create a level playing field, because we, the people, actually own all of these assets, right? We're going to back this treasury up, essentially exactly what JFK, right? Coincidentally, that he is on the $100 new treasury note, okay, that he wanted to do, okay, when he was in office before, they took him out, right? But we're going to back it up by, instead of backing it up by silver, we're going to back it up by a variety of assets, from gold, silver, copper, gas, oil, the equities market, agriculture, real estate, mining, and new energy, nuclear energy like thorium.
Yeah.
Right. This asset that we're going to go into, right? This currency that we're going to go into is going to empower everyone, as far as everyone, we the people that's been manipulating the system. This literally the script gets flipped right upside down on them, because they create that system. They wanted to go along with it. right? This is why we are going through a biblical battle right now. You don't have to
Mm.
fully understand, everything is going on, but you just have to have faith and know, hey, there are some evil people that have been manipulating the system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they do some evil stuff. Remember, when you follow them, when the old saying is always said is that follow the money, right? And if you
Yeah.
follow the money, you can see how dark it can really get. I mean, over
Right.
on here on X, we don't filter it out. I
Yeah.
mean, we already know the number one thing is child trafficking, right?
Yeah.
Human trafficking.
Yeah.
Number two is what you call it? Opium
Yeah.
drugs.
Yep.
Okay,
And they try to attribute all that to Bitcoin. And I'm like, come on now. You're telling me the US dollar, y'all don't know that the US dollar is the number one weapon of mass destruction. Like
this is why they don't want us to audit them. You go tell them, hey, we want to audit you. They're gonna be like, no, we're not. You can't audit us. They've never been audited. Like, how are
never
you
been on.
going? How are you gonna be our central bank and be in control of the global financial system, having the ability to give us the people taxes, but we can't audit you? What kind
No
of business we
accountability,
running here, homie?
no accountability, no transparency. There's some
Yeah,
thugs. Those are thugs. Federal Reserve is thugs, and we need to uproot them up out of here.
it's
It's crazy.
terrible.
Yeah, it
I mean,
is.
but I feel like it's happening now because we just got right the end of Fed bill by not just Tom Massey, congressman in
Yeah.
Kentucky, but yesterday senator from Utah and Rand Paul. He's been very vocal about it. I mean, his father was Ron Paul
Right.
about the
Of
Federal
course.
Reserve.
Yeah.
So I feel like the time is about to happen. I feel like, hey man, I think these guys are about to get thrown out because if you see what's going on right now at the White House, I feel like that's going to trigger it all.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's a damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they raise rates or if they don't. And the funny thing is like it's not like the Federal Reserve just has a button that they press and rates automatically become lower. No, the
Mhm.
Federal Reserve has to once again create value from nothing, go into the market and actually buy up the bonds to reduce the rate. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And once again, where did that value come from? So this massive, just rigging and manipulation, but you know, it's over. I mean, it's at a point where, like I said, it's damned if they do, damned if they don't. There's too much debt. There's not enough. The more they print, the higher inflation. The world is waking up to the manipulation and the weaponization. The weaponization of the monetary system through sanctions and everything else. And it's over regardless, and they know this. They know that, and so they're trying to get ahead of it the best way they can. But this is why it's so important that we decide to decentralize ourselves and not recontract ourselves back into slavery, into some. This is why we're totally against CBDC. That's why some bills they're saying, look, and some states are saying CBDC is illegal. We won't have it in our state. We're not going to have the Federal Reserve will not have the ability to create a CBDC. The people are waking up, and if they ever did try to force us on something, I think there's so many people, that are aware and awoke and awake to what's going on, and they're ready, to fight for what they believe in, for their children and for their future, you know, and that's where we're coming up on it, this clash in society. But like I said, this is a crisis, but it's also opportunity. And I think the best way that somebody can benefit and from this is starting to save in silver. It's affordable right now. It is an asset that's massively undervalued, and especially for somebody, because some people, man, they have a hard time figuring out how to copy and paste, let alone getting into blockchain. And blockchain is not the easiest thing. I'm a degen, okay, when it comes to blockchain. So I'm in it all, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. I know how to move around, okay? I know how to get it done, but it's not easy for the average person. Writing down seed phrases and, your wallet and in exchanges and in different blockchains and different wallets for different coins and getting inside the ecosystem. And you got to exchange this coin for that coin, but you got to use this exchange and you got to, It's just a lot. It's a lot for people. But the best way, to me is for people is to, get physical, gold and silver, God's money. There's no, your third party counter risk, is God. Like, come on now, that's God's money. God's money always going to have value. I got faith in God's money. I don't have faith in the Federal Reserve and their fiat currency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. We're going to be switching over the system no matter what, 100%.
Yeah.
And when you get, I encourage everybody to use the blockchain to actually experiment with it, have fun, play around, right? Don't make sure you have a good diversification. Make sure you don't over diversify. Right? I over diversify into blockchain. I have a nest egg, right? So that, because when you get into blockchain and cryptocurrency, just like you mentioned, you could be a degen. I'm also a degen as well, right? And once you start learning how to move around, what NFTs are, how to use DeFi and everything becomes so much more exponential as far as like the possibility of what you can do within the crypto space. Because again, here on the real surface level, the world that we have, we're limited to what we can do as far as how we can invest, right? Because they tell us what we can and cannot invest in. And even if we do, they're the ones that control it. You can look at Wall Street, for example, right? Gold and silver is another one too, right? Because they do manipulate that market as well with the paper contracts. But manipulation only lasts for so long, especially for an asset that is needed here very soon in the upcoming world of whether you call it the fourth industrial revolution, you're talking about the quantum, leap. You can call it whatever you want, right? We're going into this new society of AI and technology, and it's going to be another leap forward in human revolution. And in that case, we're going to need this precious. They're going to need this precious metal. Everyone is going to need this precious metal, gold, silver, copper, and every one of them as a finite resource. So it helps reset the system, especially considering that, hey, it's not the currency right now is not backed by that, right? If anything, it's actually hurting the true value of silver. By the way, if you're looking for physical silver or gold, okay, and you want it at the best price, make sure you check out at cost metals. Okay, join the membership and you get it. You get your metals at cost. Make sure you use the referral code ECHOX at the bottom right here. Scrolling across the bottom, you'll see it. Okay, make sure you go there and you can check it out.
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, physical silver is the most undervalued asset on the planet, one of the most rigged assets on the planet. And, I think that it might come a point where you just won't be able to buy it or you'll be priced out. It's that strategic of a metal. Governments have to have it. It's a strategic metal. And because of its, because of its use case, because of its need, its dynamics, in industry. I mean, in this technological revolution and companies that, need silver to exist, governments needing silver to back, their currency and give value to their currency. And there's not that many silver mines out here. The supply is not greater than the demand. The demand is greater than the supply. Usually silver is a byproduct that they find in other metal mines, gold mines and things of this nature. But, and one thing I love about silver is it's fun to collect. I got this 10 ounce, 50 caliber, silver bullet, for the empires up off me, and, we get some of these 10 ounce bars here. And, I recommend the company that Echo recommended because I get a lot of these assets at the best price. At cost, but it's a very strategic metal, and I think that the value is going to save. A lot of people think they're saving silver, but I think it might come a point where silver might be saving you, financially.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it on the screen. This is at cost metals. Make sure you check it out. You can go make sure at costmetals.com and put in the referral code ECHOX, and you can actually get your metals at cost. And you can see there's just a variety of precious metals, gold and silver both.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal membership. I mean, once I got it as well, and I funded my account and I purchased the membership, And I compared the prices. I looked at M.I.M.S, I looked at JM Bullion, SD Bullion, goldsilver.com. I mean, I've seen like from $5 to $8 saving on an ounce of silver. I've seen about $100 to $500 savings on an ounce of gold. Even these 100-ounce bars I have, I've seen about $300 savings on a 100-ounce bar of silver. I said ounces,
wow.
bar silver, not gold. Yeah, but 100-ounce bar of silver. This is from the Order Committed Meat. But when you compare them to the other major online dealers, I saved about $300. So
Okay,
it's a
yeah, I can
phenomenal
definitely see
value.
it.
And I tell people all the time, if you're going to get gold and silver, is there's no need to overpay. There are companies where you can actually get it at cost or literally at the best price.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
M.I.M.S, he's the one who brought me on board to at cost metals, and this is like when you're just looking at the prices, you're like, holy crap! I mean, this thing is compared to other places like
Yeah.
JM Bullion or APMEX, you are saving, right?
Yep.
So you want to maximize as much savings as you can. Yep, there we
Yep.
go.
Yep. Get my little coins. I like to diversify. I get, numismatics, which are collectible coins. They're flawless under magnification. Because I've accumulated so much weight, in metal, from either 100-ounce bars, coins, the 10-ounce bars. But I'm at the point now where if I can get a better price for them, I want to get the better price because that allows me to accumulate more weight. And that's the name of the game. Accumulating more weight, more metal. This came in too. This is actually a 5-ounce shotgun shell.
Ooh,
So
that looks
yeah,
sick.
as a silver. Yeah. So I love this stuff.
Dang.
Once you start collecting, you'll love it. You have real money, and there's so many different ways to get it. And especially with at cost, you can get it, no markup, a lot of the products. So it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. And I was wanting to tell some of the people and some of the guests that we're going to work together and try to host some webinars possibly. Get some people together. Get some emails out. But you want to make sure that you're tapping in. Fill out the referral link, and then we're actually make sure that we make sure that we contact everyone so that everyone's on board because you want to try to get the precious metals at cost, especially right now. You know the history. You know what's about to happen. Silver is the most highly suppressed asset out there. The ratio right now is 70-1 to gold. From all my research, this thing should be probably around 8-1.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've seen some people say, 1-to-1 ratio. I'm waiting to the day, you want to get your silver. And I look at it like this. I don't sell assets if I don't have to. I want to leverage them. I use them as collateral. You see, so it's not really about me and the price of silver and when can I sell it. I just leverage it. Even now, when I take my 2, 100-ounce bars, I got a jeweler, and he'll take the silver and he'll give me cash, and I just give him the money back because I gave him collateral. I gave him some real money. He can give me some fiat. I can go do what I need to do with the fiat, make some profits, come back with the principal plus his little interest, and get my asset back. The only time I would sell my silver is when I'm taking either a 100-ounce bar or a 1-ounce silver coin for an acre of land. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the day where, you can start buying land with either an ounce or a 100-ounce bar, 100 ounces of silver, somewhere around there. I think silver is going to be that valuable.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And you can utilize, and this is what I love that, and this as well, utilizing the blockchain for all of this here in the near future, right?
Yeah.
Just like you mentioned about, being able to hand it over to someone and them give you $100 or give you cash so that, you can actually leverage against it. We're going to do that on the blockchain, but we're real world assets like silver. Again, this is why you want to have the real world assets because we're going to be the ones that are going to be able to use that type of product. Especially here very soon.
Yeah, we are the money. We are the money. Yeah. We're the ones who are holding real money in a system that believe paper was money. We're the ones that are holding real money. So, we're advocates for people exchanging a lie for the truth. The lie is that the dollar is money. The truth is that it's gold and silver. It's God's money. That's money. So all we do is convert liabilities into assets. That when you take your dollars and you're converting them, because I can't really, it's like, can I buy some money from you? I can't buy money. I can convert it. I can get 4 quarters for $1, but I didn't buy a dollar from you. You know, I just exchanged. So I'm just exchanging fiat currency, paper money that's losing value, for gold and silver, you know, especially silver. And that is how you're preserving your wealth. And that's how you're giving your wealth the ability to increase without exposing it to risk.
Absolutely. There's not
Yeah.
enough silver out in the market, right? And just make
No.
sure, for me, I'm like, I'm I'm over here telling people, look, everybody wants to know how, we're gonna get out of this current system and move on to the next system. The easiest way is to pull a GameStop on silver. Everybody
Yep.
just buy silver. Telling you, there's
Yep.
not enough silver on the market.
No.
We would legitimately short squeeze them so easily. Get
Yep.
all the degens. That's what we need to do, bro. We need to get all our
Yeah.
degen friends and just be like, hey man, just buy 100 ounces of silver. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
I think it's coming. I think it's coming. You know, obviously we're seeing people in crypto. You know, it used to be maybe 5 years ago where it was like either crypto or gold, or it was there were two separate communities. But I'm seeing the merger of crypto communities now acknowledging the value of silver and gold, and I'm seeing the gold people acknowledging the value of blockchain. You see, the stigma around crypto was just because people didn't understand the blockchain. But when the people who are in the gold communities understand blockchain, they're going to love the understanding of the marriage of the two. Same thing with the blockchain space and the crypto space. Some people said we didn't need gold and silver. That's old money. They didn't understand. But now, because of the evolution and growth, people understanding the role of gold and silver, and actually the mechanisms and components, the characteristics of gold and silver is what people love about crypto so much. There's only, people talk about there's only 21 million, Bitcoins and things of this nature. We're talking about the supply and a fixed supply, finance supply. Look, God ain't creating no more gold and silver. I mean, there's only so silver right now it's been trashed. It's been used in electronics. It's thrown away. We don't even know the exact numbers on it, but we just know that there's a massive opportunity, and we are.
Sorry, there's a gentleman that told me, or I heard that we have 300 million ounces.
Okay,
that's it. That's all we have. And I'm like,
wow.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
like, that in industrial silver, we have 300 million ounces only.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
sounds like it's a lot, but it's not.
They're using that in solar. Look, India and China are about to use that in solar. I mean, it's over. It's. I mean, what an exciting time to be alive. Like I said, we're living in one of the most significant time periods in history, and I believe in our lifetime we will see gold and silver correct to fair value, and people's minds are going to be blown. There will be a new wealth class on this planet. They say the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. Revelations 3:18, God says, I counsel you to buy gold, tarnished by fire. I'm paraphrasing, but it's been told that these are it's money, it's the assets that you can rely on during this reset. 3:18. But this is the time.
Absolutely. Well, Mims, I know one of the questions that a lot of the audience and everybody wants to know is, where do you think that gold or silver will be at?
I see the ratio, like I can see the ratio being on the 1-to-1 when you really analyze just how off balance the actual available above ground silver and actual growing demand and use case for silver. Gold is generally stored, and it's in jewelry. It has some industrial use as well. But I think that the upside for silver is just ridiculous. Like you said, I can see 8-to-1 or 1-to-1. And gold should be over $10,000 an ounce right now, quite frankly. Silver, should be over at least $1,000 an ounce. I mean, even if you look on the US debt clock, that's what it says. But I mean, for silver to be at 30 right now, silver should easily be over $100. And that is super, super modest. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I think it's in the thousands of dollars for silver. It could be high. It's kind of hard to quantify, because when you talk about the derivatives market, if you look at I think it's called Hexeter's pyramid, and it's inverted pyramid, so it's like upside down pyramid, and the top pyramid is like, I think it's the derivative market, and then it's the real estate market, and then it's the stock market, and then it's like currency or debt. And at the very tip of it is gold. And at the tippity tip, you don't even see it, is silver. And so the whole ideology is that when the correction comes, all that money comes down into those assets, physical silver and gold.
Dang,
It's going to go.
it just gets sucked in.
It gets sucked in. So we're talking about, trillions upon trillions, maybe quadrillions of dollars now going into, because it's paper money, it's digits, but it's now going into gold and silver.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and especially because we don't really know how bad it is. They have been adding so much debt to the system. We have no idea how bad it is.
Yeah, because they're debt on top of debt on top of debt. Well, M.I.M.S, I love everything that you have to say. Right. Yeah. Thank you everyone for being here for episode 3 of Know What You Hold. Right. We're going to be wrapping it up. But M.I.M.S, you got any last words that you'd like to share, brother?
Yeah. I would like to say, once again, I'm honored, to be on Know What You Hold with you, brother Echo. I'm watching what you're doing. I believe in what you're doing. I know where you're coming from, and I believe you're doing some great things. And I'm excited to see your journey. I know you're just getting started. And we're on the precipice of something that's very beautiful and great, because we're changing lives, and I see the lives that you're changing and impacting already, and I'm just honored to be here. And the last thing I would say is people, like I said, we're living in the largest wealth transfer in history. This is the most significant time period ever. If you did not come from a wealthy family, this is the opportunity to make sure that a wealthy family comes from you. So reach out to our brother Echo, get into at-cost metals, get that referral code, get these assets, get them at the best price. And, we'll catch you on the next live stream, brother. But thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, M.I.M.S. And everyone, again, thank you all for being here. M.I.M.S, it's been a pleasure. I mean, yep. Dude, you're doing amazing. Oh, I love it. I can't wait till I get 2 bars myself. now you got me wanting. I'm going to have to get some.
Start the show. Yes, sir.
All right, everyone. I appreciate it. Thank y'all very much again for being here. Okay, we're gonna have M.I.M.S on again. There's no doubt. I mean, this is just the beginning of all of it. The massive switch, the greatest transfer of wealth, the biblical time, the miracle, the magical miracle that we are going through. We're witnessing it right before your very eyes. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say one last thing. Okay. We're going through a shift right now as we speak. There are 2 different timelines. For people that don't realize, we're living in 2 separate worlds right now, simultaneously going at the same time. The reason why I say that is because there's 2 different ledgers, 2 separate ledgers going on. You can talk about the private ledger and the public ledger. You can talk about the banker's ledger versus the public ledger. It doesn't matter. We're literally in 2 different timelines, and one of the timelines, these 2 timelines are merging right now, and one's about to fall off. I'm gonna tell you right now, the one that's gonna fall off is the one that is the one that anything's attached to this financial legacy system. Okay, so again, M.I.M.S, it's been a pleasure having you on. We're gonna have to get you on again. Anybody, if y'all need precious metals, make sure you check out at costmetals.com, referral code ECHOX. With that being said, this is why it's so important to know what you hold. Let's go.
Peace.